society is very corrupt. Look into and make sure before you form a good opinion. But if we have a very good community, good group of people, we should trust them and not form bad opinions about them. And he also said, when giving advice to his son, Imam Hassan al-Mujtaba alayhi salam, he said, distrust should never control you because it will destroy any association between you and other people. So we can't let distrust of other people control us because it will ruin everything. You'll meet somebody and you'll start wondering about them. Do I trust them? What about them? Forming bad opinion. Your mind starts racing with different suspicions, and suspicion in some cases, as we know, can be a sin. So we shouldn't jump to conclusions and make suspicion in our mind about people, and we shouldn't let this thing control us. I know everyone has probably had someone that they've seen where they don't trust anybody, and they're cynical about everything, and they have a really negative outlook on every person. It's, oh, he's not so great. I bet he has, this, and this character deflect, and, all this type of thing, this character flaw, and all this. We shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't mistrust each other. This is one thing. So, we see that if we don't have this quality of being trustworthy, where Allah says we should be trustworthy, if we don't have this quality of being trustworthy with our brothers, in actuality, it's a great sin. And it's one of those sins that if we don't trust each other as brothers and sisters in Islam, this sin of not trusting each other is actually one of the sins that blocks our prayers, our dua, from being answered. We have Imam Sajjad alayhi salam. He says, and from the sins which are the cause of rejection of prayers are hypocrisy with the religious brothers, acting hypocritical with our religious brothers. And we're talking about fulfilling the trust with our brothers in faith. Now, what are the signs of munafiq or hypocrite? Imam Sadiq said, whoever has these three characteristics is surely a munafiq. Even if he offers prayers or he fasts, he would still be considered a hypocrite with three characteristics. When he speaks, he lies. He breaks his promises. When he makes a promise, he breaks it. And when he's entrusted with something, he violates this trust. So this is being hypocritical with our brothers in faith. If we have these characteristics, if our brother entrusts us with something, and we break our trust, we don't fulfill the trust. Or if we make a promise and we don't uphold this promise with our brother, we're being hypocritical with each other. And this would cause one way for our dua not to be accepted. So these signs, that are mentioned, these are the characteristics of munafiqun. So we see that violating the trust is one of those things that are on this list. It also brings destruction to one's life if we don't fulfill the trust with each other, and we don't trust each other, and we don't fulfill our rights and our promises and our covenants with each other. This brings destruction to our life. Not only does it block our dua from being accepted, it also brings destruction. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, if one out of four things makes its appearance in your house, it ruins that house and deprives it of prosperity and blessings. So no barakah for the house, four things. First one, breach of trust, breaking the trust with each other. Second thing, theft. Third thing, drinking alcohol. Fourth thing, adultery and immodesty. These four things. But we look at adultery, wow, this big sin. We look at it, one of the big sins, drinking wine, now the big sin, stealing something, wow, big sin, But then breaking a promise, not so much a big deal, we told him something and maybe we couldn't do it, he'll understand, not a big deal. Look at this though, it's in the category of these same other things that are huge. It's on the same category with these and brings about destruction to the whole house. So we have to be mindful of keeping our word with each other and fulfilling trust. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he also said, keeping the trust, we saw it brings destruction if we don't keep them. So now he says, keeping them, keeping the trust about earnings, brings about money and prosperity to one's life. If you keep the trust with each other, it will increase your rizq, increase your sustenance. And treachery with each other, it will bring poverty to each other. So this shows it's a secret to life's prosperity, is that we keep our covenants and our trust with each other. And this will increase our sustenance and our blessings for our house. And if we don't, it could bring about destruction, as we said before. If you look at it and think about it for a moment, right? If you are trustworthy and honest, everyone's going to want to do business with you, right? If you're a businessman, you have some business and you're honest, you're trustworthy, everyone's going to want to deal with you. With anything in life. If you're known for being a good person, good human being, good woman, trustworthy, honest, people are going to gravitate towards you and want to deal with you. They're going to want to have you as their friend. They're going to want to deal business with you. They're going to want to, share time as families together, your kids, their kids. But on the contrary, if someone's known for being dishonest, breaking their trust, breaking, their promises, they'll be avoided by society. No one's going to want to deal with them, and because they're going to be afraid of encountering some sort of loss. They're going to say, if I go deal with him, he's not known for keeping his word. If he needs some money from me and I loan it to him, I might not never see the money again, or all this stuff. No one's going to want to deal with that person. And when they have that reputation, it's very hard to build back their trust in the community. So this is a practical way that we can see that not keeping the trust, it will bring destruction to one's life and one's house and all of these things. But upholding the trust, it will bring about increase in sustenance. People will want to deal with you and do business with you. So upholding the trust and maintaining the good relations with each other is one of the key things for building communities. And, relationships, they're built on trust, mutual trust. If you can't trust the other person, the relationship's not going to be that good, no matter what type of relationship it is. In marriage, a lot of divorce, because they don't trust each other. They have trust issues. Also, if you have friends and you don't trust your friends, friendship's not going to last long. All these relationships we have, they're built on mutual trust. Even with our employers, we might not even be friends with our company or boss or whoever, but we have a relationship built on mutual trust. I trust that I work 40 hours, that you're going to put my direct deposit on Friday. It's a mutual trust. That everything is built on trust. So we have to uphold these trusts, because if the trust is gone, it will be difficult to deal with each other and difficult to build a community with no trust. So we have to trust that we'll treat each other good and treat each other just like we would want to treat our family members. If I come to community and I feel like I can't trust anybody to treat me good, well, what is the sense of me coming to the community if I don't feel that? We have to make everyone feel that this mutual trust and brotherhood, sisterhood in Islam, it's here, and it's a foundation of and part and parcel of the community. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, he said to Kumail, there's a lot of good advice to Kumail. We know dua Kumail, but if we look at all the things that Kumail was told by Imam Ali alayhi salam, it's truly a lot of gems to be extracted. He said, Ya Kumail, you should realize and know that we do not permit anybody to breach the trust of anybody. Imams don't permit that. Whoever relates that I have permitted anybody to breach the trust is surely wrong and sinful, and his result will be hellfire. In if we attribute that the Imam said it's okay, break our trust with whoever. No, Imams didn't allow this. Imam Ali alayhi salam said, I swear I heard the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi say to me frequently, just 1 hour before his death. Think about it. The Prophet is on his deathbed. All of the things he could be talking about, the last hour of his life, he says this following lines. Ya Abul Hasan, give back whatever you are entrusted with to its owner, whether he is pious or he is sinful. If it's big or it is small, even if it is a thread or just a small needle, give it back to the owners. This is Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, the one that said he wouldn't do injustice to anyone, even if it was taking a grain from an ant. Subhanallah, the justice of Amir al-Mu'mineen. We can't even fathom this type of justice, let alone fathom the justice of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is not something to be taken lightly about, upholding the trust, because the Prophet was emphasizing this on his deathbed, the last moments of his life. And this is a right of all people, this is for all people, not just mu'mineen. This is for everybody, irregardless of who they are, what their religion is, if they're pious or they're not. Because we can see how strong this thing is when we see that a lot of narrations that we have. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, if a person considered you to be trustworthy and has entrusted something to you, then you should return it in perfect condition. And if a person has committed a breach of trust with you, you should not betray their trust. Even if they betrayed your trust, you shouldn't do that back to them. Because if a person entrusted you with something, we should honor that trust. They're taking a chance on us. They're hoping and putting faith in us that we'll uphold whatever it is they gave to us. So we have to honor that. And we shouldn't let them down, even if they betrayed us before. We should be better than that, and we have to stick to our word. This Prophet ﷺ said, do not commit a breach of trust with a person who has committed a breach of trust with you, because in that case, you will be just like him. He did wrong to you, what, are you going to go do wrong to him? You'll be just like him, the one that you're supposed to be against. You have to uphold that trust. Even if they did you wrong, they gave you something to hold it, you can't say, okay, he gave me something. Let's say he gave me a lawnmower and told me to hold it, But he didn't give me the money he owed me back, so I'm going to destroy his lawnmower. Stuff for Allah. No, you have to give him his stuff that he gave you, give it back to him. Just something simple like this. But it's actually big in reality. So we're better than this, to stoop to the level of betraying trust with people because they did it to us, this is below us because we're followers of the best example Allah sent for mankind, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, Allah never appointed anyone to prophethood unless he was honest and trustworthy. And we must return what we are entrusted with to its owner, whether he is good or he is evil. We see this example in the life of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, where he was called As-Sadiq Al-Amin, the truthful and the trustworthy. Who called him this? Not just his followers, his enemies called him this. Imagine that. Even your enemies, people who hate you, they still call you trustworthy. SubhanAllah. We have to strive to emulate this example that Allah sent for us to follow by following His practical examples, His ethical teachings, and He's our role model. We have to look at Him and follow Him. There's a story once of a man named Omar in Mecca. He was a shepherd. He had some sheep and he was grazing the sheep every day. He took them to this place, and the Prophet also had sheep. So one day Omar said to the Prophet, there's a green valley between these two hills. It's really nice for grazing sheep. We should come here tomorrow and take our sheep. So the Prophet agreed to this. He said, okay, tomorrow we're going to take our sheep here and we'll let our sheep graze in this place. So this guy, Omar, he said, in the morning I went there and he said, I saw Muhammad and he had already brought his sheep. But he didn't let the sheep graze in the place we told. He didn't let them graze the grass. So the guy was like, I wonder why he did that, So I'm going to ask him. You know what the Prophet said to him? The Prophet said, I made a promise with you that we'll graze the sheep together in this locality. We'll do it together. So I didn't let my sheep graze before you came. SubhanAllah. Something small like that. But the Prophet kept his word. He said, we're going to come do this tomorrow together. And he didn't let them do it. This is our Prophet that we have. Such good examples. SubhanAllah. Even he keeps his promise down to the minute details. The small things that we would overlook, he would, uphold all of the trusts. Not just the big ones, but the things that are small, he would uphold these as well. How many of us honor our meetings, our business meetings that we go to? Are we like punctual like the Prophet? The Prophet was so about his minute details that he didn't let his sheep graze before the other person came, because that was the agreement. Are we like this? We have to ask ourselves, are we like this when we make meetings with people? Or do we not really care too much about the details? We don't really care if we show up or we don't pay attention, or we give that, that casual, inshallah, means I might do it, maybe, but don't really count on it, that one. Everyone heard that one before, that inshallah, but you don't really mean it, this one. Or should we uphold the things that we say? If we say it, we mean it, Because we might look at it as something lightly. We say, inshallah, we'll do it. But we never get to it, But when our children see us do this, they start to devalue that statement of inshallah. Because when they look around, every time they hear inshallah, they don't see any results. They start to think that Allah never wills for anything to happen. Because every time we say inshallah, never happens. You're going to take me for ice cream? Inshallah. No ice cream. You take me to the mall? Inshallah. No going to the mall. Next time you say inshallah, your kids are going to be like, no, I don't want inshallah. Don't say inshallah anymore because it's not happening, We have to look at it seriously, because it could devalue that in their mind. And then later on in life, they don't depend on Allah anymore, because they start to think Allah is not dependable. But this could form this idea in their mind from young, because we never follow through when we say inshallah. They might not trust in Allah anymore, because we broke that trust in them by our own actions. So it's something we have to look at. It's a wrong idea about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We know this. But the child, they don't know. They just hear inshallah and see it never happens. So we have to be mindful on how our children perceive this. And we have to keep our word and strive our utmost. If we say inshallah, we have to put our best foot forward and work hard and put our effort, and then we're praying for Allah's help. We say inshallah, but we have to put all of our effort into it, and we're asking for Allah's help and the things that we can do. We're asking Him to strengthen us. Imam Bakr alayhi salam, salawat by his name. He said, Allah has not given superiority to a mu'min in 3 cases. In these 3 cases, it doesn't matter if you're a mu'min, kafir, anything. It doesn't matter who they are. 3 cases. First, that he returns whatever he's entrusted with for safekeeping to its owner, whether he's a mu'min or a kafir. Second, fulfilling the oath, whether it's given to a mu'min or a kafir, doesn't matter. You give your oath, you have to stand by that oath. Third, doing good to the parents, whether they're a mu'min or they're a kafir, doesn't matter. Just because I'm a Muslim now, my parents, for example, my parents aren't Muslim, my parents are Ahlul Kitab. Does that mean I don't have to treat them good anymore because they're not mu'min? No, I have to treat my parents good. So regardless of a person's faith, we have to keep our word. We have to uphold our word. And we can't take advantage of people just because they're some different faith than ours. We just run them over and do whatever we want to them. We can't do that. Because we have to remember that our actions, when we deal with people, when we interact with other people from other faiths, they either attract people to Islam or they can push people away from Islam. And we will be held accountable if we have bad actions and we break our promises and we don't withhold, we don't uphold our trust. When people entrust us, we break the trust. This could repel people from Islam, give them a bad idea about Muslims, give them a bad idea about the Prophet, and it's a whole spiraling effect just because of the way we act. So we have to, we have to ask Allah to protect us from setting a bad example for mankind, and we have to put forth the best we can, the example of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Just to show the importance and significance of upholding this trust between each other, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he said, by he who has sent Muhammad as a prophet of truth, even if the killer of my father, Hussein ibn Ali, entrusts me with the sword which he killed my father with, I will surely return it back to him. SubhanAllah, how the justice of Ahlul Bayt. Imagine the sword that killed Imam Hussein, giving it from the killer to his son, and he would still give it back to him in the condition that he gave it to him, because they have to uphold the trust. We see many, it's not just one narration like this, there's many of them. For example, the next Imam, Imam Bakr alayhi salam, said, abide by piety, diligence, honesty, and fulfillment of the trust of the charitable as well as the sinful. If the killer of Ali ibn Abi Talib deposits with me a trust, I'll surely give it to him. Even if the killer of Amir al-Mu'mineen gave him something, he would give it back in the same condition. The next Imam, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He said, you should know that I will fulfill the trust even if the killer of Ali deposits something with me or seeks my advice or counsel. He would even give advice to the killer of Amir al-Mu'mineen if he asked him. SubhanAllah. He also said, return whatever you are entrusted with to its owner, even if the owner is the murderer of Imam Hussein. It's very strong statements from the Imams. If someone trusts you with something, to take care of that thing, and this builds the mutual trust between each other. Imam Sadiq also said, no one should be regarded as trustworthy before he keeps three things: funds or money, valuable things, secrets, and honor. He who keeps two of these but not the three is not trustworthy. So we see that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he gave us the criteria in this narration of who is to be considered trustworthy. We have to be trustworthy when dealing with people's valuable things. If they give you a loan, you should fulfill the conditions of the loan. If they entrust you with something to hold it and keep it safe, then you make it your top priority to keep that thing safe. Don't be careless in regards with that. Also, when we deal with each other, we're also giving each other trust. as brothers. We have to uphold that trust of brotherhood that we have between each other and not violate that trust that we have of mutual brotherhood. The next condition that Imam Sadiq said is guarding the secrets of your brother in faith. If you remember, we had a whole talk about this one in the month of Ramadan. But it's a sacred right that we owe each other. If a person is telling you something in confidence, they're trusting you with that secret to keep it safe. So you have to uphold, they're relying on the brotherhood that exists between you and them and your fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be able to uphold that trust that He's given to you. So we have to be mindful of these trusts because if you shatter the person's trust, it makes them lose faith in the whole community, and they could end up being pushed away from Islam. The last one he said is guarding the honor of your fellow believer, the fellow brother in faith. Excuse me. Imam Sadiq said that a believer's respect and honor is much more than the holy house of the Kaaba. So we have to respect each other and honor and uphold each other's honor. One time, there was a person who defamed and slandered, talked bad about the other person in front of the Prophet. Started talking bad about someone in the presence of the Prophet. Another mu'min, he stood up and he refuted that man, He said, he defended his brother. Said, no, that's not the case. It's not like that. Defended his honor in his absence. And the Prophet said, when he saw this, he said, whoever defends the honor of his brother, this will act as a shield against the hellfire on the day that we need it the most. So all of this is about upholding the trust, even if it's something small as a needle or a thread that someone gave you. And this is one of the rights that we owe each other as brothers and sisters in faith, is upholding the trust between each other. I wanted to talk tonight and end this with one story about Imam Jawad alayhi salam as we come to commemorate his martyrdom. I wanted to say that the Imams, they uphold our trust with us. We have a trust and a covenant with the Imams. And the Imams will help us when we need it. We know that Imam Mahdi, Ajallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif, in a letter to Sheikh Mufid, he said that he is not unaware of the circumstances of the believers. And if it wasn't for him, we would be destroyed. They come, they know about what's going on, and they help us. So we hear a lot about Imam Ali alayhi salam, Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and Imam Mahdi, Ajallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. But we don't hear a lot, unfortunately, about some of the other Imams that came in between. So I found this story that I really enjoyed reading. It was a miracle from the Imam. And so I wanted to share it to show that the Imams come to our aid and fulfill their trust with us. When we trust them, they help us. And we call for them for help by the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gave to them. They help us. We say, Ya Ali Madad, Ya Mahdi Adrikni, these things. We have faith as Shia, and we know that they will come to our aid when we need them. Many, many stories we see from Imam Mahdi, Ajallah Ta'ala Farajul Sharif, but this one's from Imam Jawad. It can be found in Kitab al-Arshad, actually. Actually, this story was in a book by Sheikh Mateen called Master and Mastership. He said, Ali ibn Khalid was a Zaydi. So he was one of the ones that didn't acknowledge the later Imams. So he didn't believe in Imam Jawad, for example. But he lived in the time of Imam Jawad. But he didn't accept any of the Imams after Imam Sajjad. The first four Imams, and didn't accept Imam Hassan either. But anyway, they didn't accept after Imam Sajjad. So he lived in the time of the ninth Imam, Imam Jawad alayhi salam. He says, I was in the city of Samarra in Iraq, And he was told that a man from Damascus, from Syria, he claimed to be a prophet. And he was there and he was put in the jail in Samarra. So Ali ibn Khalid was curious. He said, what's going on with this person? I want to go see. He says he's a prophet. So I went to him and said, what's the matter with you? What do you mean you're a prophet? Like, how did you come up with that? So the guy told him an interesting story. He said, I was in Syria. I was busy in worship at the site that was supposed to be the resting place of the head of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. They have a place when they were traveling that they rested the head of Imam Hussein for the night. So one night, he said when he was worshiping, all of a sudden he found a man in front of him. It startled him. He said, this man told me to get up. So he said, I rose up unconsciously, not even knowing what I'm doing. I just got up. I obeyed him. And he went a short distance. Remember, they're in Damascus. He said, I went a short distance and I found myself in Masjid al-Kufa. How'd that happen? He asked me if I knew where I was. So the man, the stranger, said, do you know where you were? He said, yeah, I know that I've been here many times before. I'm in Masjid al-Kufa. They offered prayers there, and then they went out again. He said, we had not gone far, and they noticed that we were in Masjid al-Nabi, all the way in Hijaz. Then he invoked, they said salawat on the Prophet, and they offered the prayers. After that, they left out again. A moment later, they found themselves in Mecca, at the Kaaba. They went around the tawaf of the Kaaba, and then they left Masjid al-Haram. After walking a few more steps, he found himself back in the same place, back in Damascus. Then all of a sudden, the man, he disappeared from his sight. He didn't see him anymore. He said it just felt like a breeze blew over my face and he was gone. A year went by and the incident happened again. He met the man again 1 year later. He took him on the same journey. They went through the same thing. Went to all the holy places that they went to the first time. So when he wanted to leave me this time, he said, I ask you by the right of the one who gave you this power to do this, to let me know what your name is. He said, I am Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Musa ibn Ja'far, the 9th Imam. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. So this guy that it happened to, he was, imagine if this happened to you. You're going to go and tell all your friends. We can't even eat a meal without putting it on Instagram or something like this, doing one small thing we had all over social media. So this guy, he went and told all his friends. He went and told everyone that he met, And then the news got back to the ruler, a guy, Muhammad ibn Abdul Malik al-Zayyad. He ordered my arrest and accused me of posing as a prophet. So he said, now you see my condition, and this is how I came to the prison. This man put me in the prison because he said I did all of these things that I'm claiming to be a prophet. So Ali the Zaydi, he said, Ali ibn Khalid, the Zaydi guy who went to ask him, he said, so I said to him, would you like me to write to that ruler, about your case, try to get you out of here and let you go. He said, you can, if you want to, go ahead and write him. So he wrote the ruler, and he got the reply back. You know what the reply was? Tell him to ask the person who took him from Damascus to Kufa to Medina to Mecca and then brought him back to Damascus. Tell that person to get him out of jail too. So the guy, the Zaydi guy, he was like distraught about it. He said, oh man, I'm going to have to go back and tell him this bad news, about this thing. So he said he was distressed. He said the next morning, I went to the prison to convey this reply to that man. He said, I saw a lot of soldiers around this prison and a lot of, big crowd of people. It was really busy. A lot of people going in and out all around. So he said, what happened? He started asking people, what's going on? What's going on? So they told him a prisoner who claimed to be a prophet had escaped from the prison, and it wasn't known how he did it, whether he had escaped went into the ground or he had flown up into the sky like a bird. They couldn't figure out how did he get out of that cell. How did he do it? And he said, this Zaydi, he said, after seeing this incident, I gave up my Zaydi beliefs and I became a 12er Shia, believing in the Imamah of Imam Jawad, the 9th Imam, and the line of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. This is one of the miracles of Mu'jiza of Imam Jawad. And may Allah grant us the shifa and the help of our Imams. And may He grant us the ziyarat of Imam Jawad alayhi salam. Be able to go to Qadamain and convey our salams to him. May Allah allow us to uphold this trust of brotherhood that we have, this pact, this sacred pact of brotherhood that we have between us. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا الذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم صلوا على محمد وآل محمد اللهم